Wickramaratne tweeted saying President should reconvene Parliament and get everyone's support in minimizing economic consequences of the fallout of the COVID-19. If not, he runs the risk of turning a health epidemic into an economic knockdown and a humanitarian crisis of unforeseen proportions. I have updated you about the political and economic situation in the country thus far. Let me now draw your attention to the updates we have with regard to COVID-19 in Sri Lanka. One patient passed away last night after being tested positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, with the detection of 4 new COVID-19 cases in the country, the total number of confirmed infections rose to 150.
A 73-year-old man passed away last night after testing positive for COVID-19. This brings the total number of coronavirus-related deaths in Sri Lanka to 3. The daughter, son-in-law and grandson of the deceased were admitted to the Institute of Infectious Diseases. The Colombo Municipal Council said that 2,000 people in the area were later placed under quarantine. Thereby, the housing complex the deceased was residing in and 18 other housing complexes in the area have been isolated. Speaking about the patient who passed away last night, this patient first displayed symptoms of the virus 10 days ago. This patient had sought medical treatment from the National Hospital. On the 20th, he had purchased medicine from a regional pharmacy. We have quarantined the doctor who treated this patient, her husband and the entire staff. This person had entered the Sri Javadhanapura hospital the day before yesterday. He had sought medication for a cough, cold and respiratory difficulty he was suffering from. This person had not revealed the true details about his son-in-law. The issue here is the fact that many people had come to visit this person who tested positive for COVID-19 while he was sick at home. Many people had helped them to take this man to the hospital twice. We quarantined all of them in their homes. The final rites of the deceased were conducted this afternoon. A group of area residents objected when the final rites were being conducted at the Udumulla cemetery, alleging that the crematorium at the cemetery did not function properly. The virus is destroyed at about 30 degrees Celsius, but here we increase the temperature to about 1200 degrees, so there will be no issue at all. We can guarantee that. The Akurana town continued to remain under lockdown after a few people tested positive for COVID-19 in the area. The army distributed essential goods to the residents of the area today. Meanwhile, 200 people who associated a person who tested positive for COVID-19 in Pannala Beruwala were placed under quarantine yesterday. The public health inspector of the Kalutara district, R.G. Singhabahu, said the group that was quarantined were residents in close proximity to the residence of the person who was tested positive for the virus. Meanwhile, security was beefed up in Atolugama in Bandaragama, which is already under lockdown after 5 people in the area tested positive for COVID-19. 3 new coronavirus patients were identified at the Palali Quarantine Center in Jaffna yesterday. A procedure is in place to treat patients that have been discovered in Beruwala. As of last evening, 226 people who had associated the patients were directed to the Punani quarantine facility by the Sri Lanka Army. We have taken into consideration the time they have spent at home and how many have stayed at their homes. According to the information we have received from our intelligence units, health officials and the Army, more than 300 people have associated the deceased. 2 of his relatives have been confirmed to have contracted the virus. Plans are underway to send more than 300 of those people to be quarantined.
නිරෝධායන මධ්‍යස්ථානයකට යැවීමට කටයුතු සූදානම් කරමින් සිටිනවා.
We have received information that people are gathering to the place where the cremation is taking place and where the body of the deceased is being taken. According to health officials, the final rites of those who pass away from this virus have to be conducted immediately. and people should not gather at these places. I would like to specially mention that if people are continuing to gather at places like these, action will be taken against them under quarantine laws. Action can be taken against them under the quarantine law and the criminal law of Sri Lanka.
නිරෝධායන රීති මෙන්ම ලංකාවේ අපරාධ නීතිය යටතේ කටයුතු කරනවා.
Let me take you through the numbers of the total number of COVID-19 cases that have been reported in the country. We had 5 patients being discovered today or identified today. Thereby, the number of active cases in the country stands at 151 at the moment, with 5 patients being identified thus far in the day. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, the Director General of the World Health Organization, spoke and expressed the following views at a press conference this morning.
As we enter the 4th month since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, I'm deeply concerned about the rapid escalation and global spread of infection. Over the past 5 weeks, we have witnessed a near exponential growth in the number of new cases, reaching almost every country, territory, and area. The number of deaths has more than doubled in the past week. In the next few days, we will reach 1 million confirmed cases and 50,000 deaths.
Main sponsor